Today, we are going to focus on making a lazy Susan using this little mechanism right here. It spins around. You can screw your tray or your platter or whatever you make on one side, and then the base will go on the other. There's a little trick to that. Here we go. So as I promised, we are going to make a charcuterie tray, board, whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to show you some tips and some tricks with a router, and specifically a router using bearing bits. Bearing can sometimes come on the top, and sometimes it comes on the bottom. And depending on the position or the depth of your wood, you're going to switch from one to the other. The first trick is going to be, we are going to position our template and decide the size of the wood. That's actually going to be the shape and the form of our 5-pocket trays. This will be the outer line. The easier it will be with the router. All right, so we've lined out the template. I went back and matched it exactly. We've cut it pretty closely. I'm purposely leaving these bigger pieces here because the biggest and most important thing with a router is safety. We do not want this piece of wood to move, which when you're dealing with a high rotation per minute drill bit that is very sharp on the end of a router, you want to make sure that your wood does not move. So, that was our first pass. Change the increments now in the center, or I can start to take off all the sides, and every plunge that I go, I do all 5 trays. Change the plunge depth, all 5 trays, change the plunge depth until we get to our 5/8 of an inch, which will be our final depth. All right, so we've got all of our innards done. Now we gotta clean out this edge here, but that's a lot of wood. So we're gonna take it over to the miter saw and just cut off as close as we can to that, and then switch to another router. So we're gonna use this straight bit with the bearing at the top to follow along the acrylic on the top of it. Once we've got that already marked out, you'll see we'll have a nice definition. Then we're gonna trade it out, and we're going to put the bearing at the bottom so that then when I trace it from this angle, it will copy what I've already cut up on top. It's a little confusing, but when you see it, it'll make complete sense. So here we go. And now I'm just gonna give everything a nice little edge. We're nice and even all the way around with the 2 bearing router bits to meet our depth. So we've got it all nicely sanded and routed all around the edges. Now, remember I told you we've got some imperfections in the middle here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of the imperfection, and I'm going to make it consistently inconsistent to get rid of these interior little burn marks. Well, I think we've made enough sawdust for the day. And so here we have our 5-tray little charcuterie board. Hang on, we're going to get to the lazy Susan part. But now we're going to oil it. And this is important that you use a food-safe oil. I started out with a 5.5 inch board, which is a 1x6, but the true measurement is a 5.5. I'm going to use this on the actual tray. So here's the secret to a lazy Susan installation. There are screws on both sides, right? So ideally what we want to do is put screws on this side and then put screws on that side. But then how do I get, when I do this, how do I get those screws in? So here's the trick. We're gonna first concentrate on one side. I did an X on my little 5.5 by 5.5 square before I cut off my little ends, my corners. Center it exactly. All I have to do is place my little holes. And now you see where this is lined up on the opposite? All I'm gonna do is mark a hole for this, because we're gonna drill a bigger hole here so that once I screw this side on, I'll be able to see through here the hole and screw it onto that side. Find the center. This will help us drive our screws in. Perfect. Give it a little bit of oil right now. And just to test, we'll be able to get in there and screw for our Lady C. Susan. There we go. All right. Now, see the hole? So all we gotta do is center this thing. I think it's pretty cool, but I'd like to put some handles on it because I think it'll just look kind of neat. Let's just add a little thing. So, got my handle placement determined. I basically just have some regular drawer pulls that I got at the hardware store. I cut off the tip because I still want to maintain the integrity of the thread so I can screw in my handle. And then I'm gonna put in a little bit of CA glue down into the hole. There we go. Now we can say it's done. A DIY Lazy Susan. For this and more, visit us at familyhandyman.com.